We're back, y'all. Another week of episodes for you guys. Thank you all so much for tuning back in. It's your boy G, along with Alec. Appreciate all the love you guys been showing us. It's your boy here at 1700. Appreciate all the love you guys been showing us. Like, rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're definitely glad to have this following build up, and we definitely enjoy talking with you guys each week. So we're back again on the eve of the Final Four. Excited to talk about what's going on both on the men's and women's sides in college basketball. There was an entertaining project going on both sides of the lane there, and just enjoying it all, and have a few things we want to talk about. As you guys clicked in here to see, we're going to talk about Caitlin Clark and how great she's been playing, as well as what's going on on the men's side with a lot of underdogs making it all the way to the Final Four. So we're just going to have on both sides. Excited to talk about it all. As I said, make sure to subscribe to the show and share with your friends and all that as well. Be active in the comments if we talk to you guys there. And yeah, excited to be back for another week of stuff, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning back in. Let's get it rolling. All right, so here we are. We are back. Like as I said, talking about all the things going on with the Final Four, both on the men's and women's sides. Glad to be here at this moment. Exactly, it's been fun tournaments on both sides. Loving all that's going on there. And to start, before we get into Caitlin, just what her moment or how she's developed her moment on this Final Four run that she's been on so far has really been impressive. And as you guys see here, we got four great teams that are in it. Opposite of the men's side, which we'll get into later on, the men's side is full of underdogs and all these 9 seeds and 5 seeds. For the Final Four on the women's side, the top dogs make sure they find their way to the end. South Carolina is a 1 seed who has become like the new version of UConn. Alec called us before the show. They've gone on a tear in recent years, thanks to Coach Don Staley, and now people like Aaliyah Boston who are running the show there. They've been great, are back in the Final Four yet again, looking to repeat as national champions. Versus Iowa with Caitlin Clark, who we'll discuss more in a moment. On the other side, LSU is on a great run. Love what they have going on. I've seen a lot of great clips of them on and off the court, having a lot of fun and enjoying with their product. Versus Virginia Tech as well, who is 1 seed, who is finding their way to the end as well. So definitely great things. Before we talk more about Caitlin, real quick, Alec, who you got getting through in the Final Four on the women's side?
I was gonna say too. I think LSU got like a shipment of Kobe Grinches from Vanessa Bryant, so they got the Bryant stamp. I might have to give them a little edge there.
That's major.
But yeah, this tournament has been exciting. I tuned into the Iowa versus Louisville game because you had the 2 big names in Caitlin Clark versus Haley Van Lith in that one. It was really exciting game. And Caitlin Clark, as we're going to discuss, showed out. I do know that South Carolina is going to be like a more balanced team, like throughout their roster, as opposed to how Louisville was a little bit more top heavy. So it might be a little bit more of a battle for Iowa, who dominated, I think, won by 20 in that last game. Caitlin Clark is special, but I think I might lean South Carolina just a little bit there. And then on the other side, I'm not super familiar, but like I said, LSU got the Bryant stamp, so I might.
Let's give a preview. Can we get a preview here at all? My apologies if it's lagging. Not too much of a preview they have on ESPN for us, but definitely 2 teams that definitely deserve to be in this situation. As you said, LSU, beyond just a stamp, have shown that they're definitely a very legit squad. I'm very excited to see what they put forth in this Final Four game. So, I hear what you're saying there. I think I have the same type of thought. I think I have South Carolina over Iowa. As great as Caitlin Clark is, I think the South Carolina squad appears to have more depth and can overcome the great performance that Caitlin Clark will put up basically on her own with respect to who else is on that squad. She definitely leads the way there. And on the other side, very much going to be a toss-up. But I do think LSU, I'm going to roll with them as well. Beyond the stamp, from what the little bit I've seen, and my apologies for not having full names and everything to fully credit to. But from what I've seen from them, they appear to be a team that is on a mission still, even as great as Virginia Tech also is. So South Carolina versus LSU is who I'm going with. I think, as you also said, and I think South Carolina gets that repeat in that final as well, which we can talk about later on when the game comes around. But yeah, there'll be fun things there. Yeah, looking forward to it all. I think you said it, but you agree with that outcome too?
Yeah, I think South Carolina gets it done.
Definitely, they're on a special run right now. Leah Boston is killing it. Don Staley is a Hall of Fame coach, and they're continuing to record accolades and what they're doing over there. So, great things for them. Excited to watch that. But to our main point, the main question that we had, Caitlin Clark has been a force this whole run for a couple of years now. It appears she showed up and has showed out every step of the way. Really since high school, I saw a clip of her. I was doing some slight research on her and saw a clip of her playing in high school, and people were doing the overhead chants and stuff, and she just turned them off and continued to go off and cook. I think there's a video of Trae Young doing the same thing, bowing to the crowd and stuff. It was the same type of thing where she was just like hushing the crowd and doing her thing. It was great to see. So she's been doing her thing for a minute now, and has continued on doing it in college, and is looking like a very elite talent. Let me pull up her picture real quick just so we can have this. She's been doing great. And yeah, go ahead. Anything to add before I go to our question?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's funny that you mentioned Trae Young. I mean, because she plays a lot like Trae Young, Steph Curry, as far as the deep range threes and letting it go from anywhere on the floor, being a threat once you pass half court. And both those Trae Young was just like that at Oklahoma in his college days. So yeah, I mean, she's got a very exciting, fun game to watch. That it made me want to tune in. Like it's box office for sure.
I was going through Twitter and they resurfaced the video of RDC World. They did the Steph Curry video where you guard him from the parking lot, guard him when he wakes up. Remember, when he got out of bed and they're automatically there guarding him. Caitlin's the same way. As soon as she gets off the bus, if you're not guarding her, she's putting the ball up and it's for sure going in. So definitely a special talent. Where we've seen a lot of great women basketball players in some time. We haven't seen a talent like her in her regard quite yet. There are having other guards, of course, the legends of the Tarasis and Sue Birds and the like. But someone who has the handle like she has and the size as well, her being 6 foot, big guard, being 6 foot and moving around as she does, definitely is impressive. And yeah, just continue to be amazed as she continues on her run. While we
I was gonna say,
it's very possible.
I was gonna say too, it's not just like what we're talking about as far as the range and then the shooting ability too, but the also rebounding and playmaking as well. I think in that last game she had like close to 40, 12, and 8 or something like crazy triple-double numbers. So she can do it all. While she is an elite shooter from range, she can do it all too.
Absolutely stands above the rest in these games, and definitely is someone to be heralded. So yeah, definitely love what she continues to do. And because of how dominant she appears on the court, there has been some talk, and we're just going to be honest here. It may be ignorant, or whatever the case may be, but there are folks that are talking about how because of her being a 6 foot guard with handle and shooting ability, why can't she be in the NBA? Why can't she go instead of going to the WNBA? Why can't you go play with the guys and be a contributor in NBA because of all that she provides? And yeah, it's been a fun debate. I could somewhat see what they're trying to say, but Alec, I'll pass it to you. And what are your thoughts on folks saying that she has NBA talent?
Yeah. I'm like, y'all not gonna get me in trouble on this topic, man.
I'm trying to
choose my words wisely here. No, I think as we just talked about, like celebrating her, I think she is truly like elite of the elite as far as women players goes. And I really think we should just appreciate elite talent in the lanes they're in. Like there's no need to have to compare her to the male players like in the NBA. It can get disrespectful both ways when you start to do that comparison. And I don't think it's really like a necessary discourse. I do think it would be sick if like a truly elite women's player did make the NBA and like carved out a career. Like that'd be really dope to see. And so I understand like part of it is like general curiosity. Like, could she truly hang with NBA elite talent? And it would be cool to see like if she could, but I don't think it's like a useful, I guess, discourse unless she's like going to the NBA draft, that kind of thing. Like,
I was gonna say, like, is there even a need for a crossover in that regard? Like, do we need to see women in the NBA, or is it just more so as the NBA has been pushing we need to highlight what they're doing over there more.
Exactly. I don't think we need to see that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it's a useful discourse unless she was saying like, I'm gonna go to the NBA draft. Then we could talk about it more. But I think as we're seeking to build the women's game up and the WNBA up, like that should be more of the focus, shining a light on this elite talent that they do have, getting people to tune in to watch the WNBA and watch the girls' game. Like there was discussion online as well about how the coverage of the women's tournament, like how the NCAA refuses to call it March Madness as well because they kind of don't want it to hurt the brand of the men's tournament. But I mean, it can be just as competitive and just as fun to watch as we've discussed. So I think more focus should be on how great she is and celebrating that and building up the women's game.
Correct. Yeah, I agree with you there. I will say I can see what the people online are trying to say, that she definitely does have elite talent that is comparable to the guys we see on the other side. But WNBA and NBA are two different games, and truthfully. So with that being the case, and yeah, with that just being the case, I think Caitlin should go and just continue to dominate WNBA, and there shouldn't really be a push like some folks are trying to make her go and play in the NBA with the guys. Though it would be a cool thing to see, but necessity-wise, as you already addressed, it's not something that that needs to be done. So no, I think we just need to credit them more, and then also I don't want that to be used to discredit WNBA either. I don't think that this should be said to say she's above the WNBA. I think that this should be more reason to give more of our attention to WNBA and what they're doing. They've been trying to make that push for some time now, and trying to highlight that. NBA guys have been saying, "Hey, y'all need to watch and respect this league that's doing over there or doing their thing." If for a woman to go on the other side, I think would just in a way prove all those guys, if you know what I'm trying to say, they'll prove those guys right, which does not need to be done. So no, I definitely do appreciate her talent, love her talent, continue to watch her talent, and think she needs to stick where she's on the path that she's going, and going the NBA route isn't a necessity there. So I see what comes next with her. And any other thoughts on Caitlin and NBA wise or whatever?
No, I don't think so. I think she has the chance to be an all-time great. I mean, we've seen really great guards just recently ahead of her, like Kelsey Plum and Sabrina Ionescu. But she seems to be on another level. She may even she has eligibility for another year of college if she wants to. So she may do that. Like people were talking like she's making a lot more money through NIL deals than she would on her rookie contract too. So may stay around and break more records in college.
I'm going to try to say this. It came to mind. And the only, realistic reason I could see her entertaining that NBA stuff people are talking about, if she could go and get paid for 2 years, 3 years, whatever, and if she could sustain there some kind of way, that'd be great. And then go to WNBA, and they can feed back into WNBA, and she plays her full career from there. Because I know the reality is the pays are not the same quite yet. They're still building. WNBA is still building itself up. So if she can go to the NBA and just cash a few checks, and then go back to WNBA and go from there. Hopefully, I'm not offensive in saying that, but that seems like something that'd be the only reason that came to mind when you talked about. I think you brought up pay or whatever reason, or the publicity and all of that. That'd be the only reason. But everything beyond that we discussed, I think she's on the right track, and that she should. I think staying around for another year in Iowa and continuing to build her legacy there would be a great thing. So to that point that you also pointed out, I'd like to see her stay when you're in college and then go to WNBA and continue her career from there. So we shall see what she does, and excited to see whether this is her final games coming up, Final Four championship games, or that, which goes under there. Either way, we'll definitely be tuned in. So great stuff there. That's great with her. Excited to talk about that. Excited for the women's tournament. Continuing on the Final Four we discussed. Putting to the other side, talking about the men's side, has been, as you said, much more of a mess than it has been on the women's side.
Not a mess. Our brackets have been a mess. Yeah.
Every bracket is completely shattered. I won our podcast tournament challenge. I only got like 500 points out of the max 1,800. But my 500 was enough to even with that to be ahead of the rest and get the job done. So Thank y'all.
Salute.
Yeah, appreciate that. But yeah, now to reality, we are here with these teams that caught everybody by surprise. San Diego State is now here as a 5 seed, making it beating Alabama and teams to get there. FAU went on the miraculous run that they've gone on to get here in the Final Four on one side. On the other side, Miami versus UConn, both teams who have been, as you point out, actually across the board, all these teams have been pretty good pretty much all year long.
Right.
Because they weren't as quote unquote talented as teams above them. We didn't believe the records that they were putting up in comparison to teams above them. So yeah, they have proved that they are top dogs and continue on their run, and they know how to win games versus the best of the best and beyond. And so now here we are. So how do you see this Final Four playing out? And yeah, who is the biggest surprise here?
I got no picks anymore, man. Yeah, look at that. None of us. I think no one in our bracket group had anyone in this Final Four. In the Final Four,
right.
It's kind of crazy to see no seed higher than 4 in the Final Four.
Right.
I think we had UCLA, who was like a 9 or 11 seed, like a couple years made the Final Four, but it's rare that you get seeds as low as 9, like in the Final Four like that. It should be exciting games, as you mentioned and I mentioned before. Like none of these teams had less than 29 wins,
right?
And FAU had 35 wins. So they were a team that, while they may have played lesser competition in their regular seasons, they proved that they could string together some wins at a high clip.
Winners win. Like, simple as that. Like you look at the records, and as you said, these teams have been putting up value average all year long. People saw that. We're like, oh yeah, but it's like, no, man. They clearly have a formula that works, regardless of who's in front of them. And they've carried that on in the tournament. So yeah, great to see here.
Yeah. So I like with picks. I mean, I love how FAU has been playing. It'd be dope to see a 9 seed in the finals. So I'll go with FAU there. And then Miami. I think we had Miami losing the first round to Drake.
Oh yeah, in our bracket on here,
right? Yeah. But Miami's been great, and so is UConn. I mean, like it's really a toss up, all these teams, and none of them are like the clear top dog kind of thing. They're all hungry.
Right.
I think I'll lean with UConn, but I really don't have much of a sway one way or another. But I'll say FAU, UConn in the final.
I will say I liked FAU, and I liked something that stood out to me was that their coach is very poised. Sometimes you'll see underdog teams start winning games, and the coach gets real giddy. Like I still remember vividly, there was that one coach. I forgot who it was. Who his son made a buzzer beater and he fell off the chair. A few years ago, whatever that was. Yeah, so I just remember that. There's coaches like that who, when they're underdogs and start getting a lot of wins, they know that phone's gonna start ringing their stuff, so they start getting real excited. You can see it in their coaching and their play. But the FAU coach, he's on the sideline just like, yo, we're just getting the job done. This is how we do
they got some dogs at FAU.
We have things set up. We have a formula that works, and we're going to keep on checking the boxes. They've been doing that, so I definitely enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And while I do enjoy all of that, I will say a slight sway on San Diego State. There's a guy on there that was highlighted last week specifically was Creighton. Adam Seiko is number 2, the shooting guard over there. His brother played on Creighton, so it was a highlight of that.
Right.
Yeah, brothers playing against each other. Adam, I went to high school with him just for a little while at Sierra Canyon before, right as it was becoming what everybody knows it to be. Definitely salute to him. And happy to see him having success. There were a couple of years in the past where San Diego didn't quite maybe make the runs that we hoped them to be, but they're finally making do, and he's a big part of that. So definitely salute to him, and I hope that he gets through. So because of that slight sway, see how great FAU has been and what they have put together. I think San Diego State, even beyond just rooting for him, I see that they have a good squad over there as well, and they could throw a lot at FAU. That could be a challenge for them. I'm gonna go with San Diego State in that one. On the other side, I have no sways either way. Like I said, we have Miami losing in the first round. UConn, we saw it's good, but we didn't see a deep run. We've been UConn in recent years to be a women's basketball squad. Yeah, the women have been doing a lot better than the men have, but the men are back, and I guess with the women starting to fall down, we said UConn was not on the women's side. I guess the men are carrying the torch for the time being, and then now they're back with Coach Bobby Hurley, who was a famous college basketball player there. So And also, too, I will note UConn's won every game by like 25 points at least. So them being dominant.
Really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they've been on a tear. So we might be watching a historical, truly all-time great tournament run here. So to continue to root for that, I'm gonna go with UConn. So I got UConn versus San Diego State, and then to toss up from there. Yeah, I see it going either way. But yeah, I think those two, get the job done, and I'm definitely excited to watch it. So yeah, fun thing there, and yeah, anything you want to add?
Yeah, just quick note: the UConn head coach is Dan Hurley. Bobby Hurley is the ASU head coach.
Correct. Yeah. Sorry, one of them Hurleys. I got the last name right at least. But y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so they've been on an absolute tear. They've been just blowing everybody out. Can I even scroll real quick to show? Yeah, they beat Arkansas by 23. So they beat everybody by 23, it seems. St. Mary's by 25. They beat Gonzaga by damn near 30. In their first game, Iona, they blew out the wire. So they just been cooking all the way through to this Final Four run. And I think even as great as Miami has been, because they've had some very impressive wins, close wins, and all of that, I think they can. I think UConn could put up another dominant performance against them too. So yeah, I got UConn and San Diego State from there. So
okay. Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with any pick at this point.
Yeah,
all teams have proven they have a right to be there. So.
Any other takeaways from the tournament as we're now at the end of it?
I think you kind of had a question about just like people, the general consensus not really wanting the upsets that we like say we do, kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I listened to the radio. I was driving to work early and listening to the radio, and they were like, "Yeah, I mean, as funny as it is, like, be honest, if you saw San Diego State versus FAU on your screen, are you going to watch that game?" And they were all, as analysts, like, "No." I'm like, "You guys are ESPN trying to hype your product. You all saying know yourself, like, what are y'all doing?" But there is a lot of folks that think that, like, hey, as great as the upsets are, as great as the underdogs are, the reality is now we want to see the best talent. These guys we don't believe are the best talent, even as they got this far. So we may not watch because of what the name says. So I think that's very disingenuous with how difficult this tournament is and the talent it takes to get to this point. So what do you think about folks that say upsets now at this point are a bad thing? They're may not tune in because of the low quality that may be in the game.
To that, I say, why play the tournament then? If that's how you feel, like just put the Blue Bloods in the Final Four or whatever. If that's all you want to see, like they had to win the games to get there. You don't just get to take a ride to the Final Four and not have to play anybody. Like I think sometimes these teams like look past teams because they're smaller schools or they've played lesser competition or whatever. But you see, like the playing field's equal. We're on a neutral site. We all can play basketball. Like we all earned a spot here in the tournament, one way or another, whether we won our conference tournament or we dominated our regular season. So you got to compete, and it's on the Blue Bloods to get there if they want to show that they're the best team. Like clearly they weren't the best team this year.
Yeah. Listen, we're a show that we are proud casuals. This show is by casuals for casuals. We know that we don't have all the info, and we want to see the best names and just what names get our attention and all that too. But that's the level of casual that I can't even agree with, to be honest with you. There has to be at least some curiosity about who are the best teams, and seeing that these teams and what they've done. I think even as a casual as these folks may be, I'm still very intrigued by these games and we'll be very tuned in to what goes on. So yeah, I think that's disservice by them to not be intrigued by what's going on because of the lack of namesake, I guess, that's here. So I'm excited for this Final Four.
And I will say it wasn't a blue blood, but the NCAA is probably a little happy that Alabama didn't make it.
Hey, karma. I ain't gonna go that far, but we just gonna leave it at that. Any other takes on the tournament on either side? Honestly,
no. I think these, regardless of what people may feel about Blue Bloods not being in the final, I think these should be good games, and they should be competitive games. And I think people will tune in. Maybe they won't tune in as much, but I know the fans of these schools specifically are going to be super charged up for it that maybe aren't typically. So you're going to get some viewers that you may not have had in the past. So I think it will be a success overall. The brand is still strong for March Madness, regardless of who's in the Final Four.
Very much so. And the last thing that actually came to mind, too, I want to add, I think this also helps the NCAA in general, because there are a lot of folks that said oh, only the top dogs are going to be the good teams through the transfer portal now.
Mm.
All the good, only the teams with the most money now are going to win championships. And we're seeing now these are not teams that you would assume to be the top dogs in NIL and all kinds of stuff. They have their formulas about putting the best product on the court, and they have had this success. So at the end of the day, that talent on the court still matters beyond whatever sells and goes on beyond that. So to that, I actually really like that we don't have the blue bloods or whatever big names in here as usual. So yeah, I'm excited for what's to come.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's it for college basketball right now. We definitely appreciate y'all for tuning into this episode. 1 of 3 as we do each week now. Let me click over to this for you guys. Excited to talk about other things as well. Want to talk about Lamar Jackson and what else is going on with him. Yet again, things are not finalized. More drama, sadly, as well as things going on in the NBA, MLB getting underway with opening day coming up soon and beyond. So there'll be fun things there as we do. There'll be a bonus episode as we do on something completely different outside of our usual sports talk. Excited to bring to you also. But yeah, there'll be good things across the board. We appreciate y'all for tuning into this episode right now. Again, like, rate, review, subscribe, all the good stuff to us. Section 300 across all platforms. Appreciate all the love. And yeah, we'll see you guys again real soon, man. Appreciate y'all. We back. Peace.
Deuces.